Alright, so today marks 2 years since I started doing this whole YouTube thing, and I figured what better way to mark the occasion than by completely dismantling another Athlean X Dick Rider's comments, since that's what seems to make my subscribers go up the most anyways. Now you guys remember the Bluegill Greg video where I was talking about why chin-ups are generally easier than pull-ups for most people? Those reasons, just to recap, are: number one, puts the biggest, strongest muscle in a position to do the job it does best, shoulder extension. Pre-stretch is the biggest, strongest muscle involved, and the muscle that is stretched the most is generally recruited the most. Prevents the biggest, strongest muscle from entering its shortest and thus weakest position. Creates a more stable joint that the biggest, strongest muscle passes through, and stability is a prerequisite to force production. And the underhand grip clears up a lot of the technical errors that people make with an overhand grip, like initiating the pull with the elbow flexors. Remember, the first muscle to fire hard, that's the prime mover. That's going to take on the brunt of the stress. Everything else is secondary. If you're initiating the pull with the elbow flexors, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Now, most people got it, but based on some of the comments that I'm still getting, not everybody got it. So I'm going to share a comment with you real quick that I'm going to talk about, because it's likely that the person who wrote it, if they ever watch this video, they're just going to either go back and edit it, or delete their account entirely out of sheer embarrassment. Now, the person who wrote this comment's name is Derek Johnson. Here's the comment right here. If you click on that, there's a little picture there. You can see he's got about the same amount of results as he does subscribers. 0. So let's take a look at what Derek wrote. I'm amazed by all those buying into this guy's bro science. He sounds like he's taken one anatomy or exercise science course but never really grasped the big picture of biomechanics. He is really hung up on the fact that the brachioradialis is responsible for elbow flexion. Did you even watch the fucking video, Derek? The video that you took the time to comment on? Did you not listen to those 5 points? Where am I highlighting the brachioradialis? Like, what the fuck were you watching? Yup, you were right. Now, from a dead hang with a wide pronated grip, begin a pull-up movement and tell me which is the first joint to flex. It's the elbow. What is the point in asking that question? What is the point in asking what's the first joint to flex where there's only one joint that's flexing? It's the first and only joint to flex. So what's your fucking point? Then he goes on to say, which muscle, singular, flexes the elbow with the forearm hands in a pronated position? Then he goes on to mention more than one muscle, even though he asked in the singular. The brachioradialis. The biceps is only partially recruited for that initial elbow flexion, and there the movement relies on brachioradialis strength for initiating the movement until the lats can engage. Like I said, if you're relying on any of the elbow flexors, brachioradialis, biceps, brachialis, if you're relying on any of the elbow flexors to initiate the movement, then you don't know what the fuck you're doing. On a chin-up, the biceps is almost exclusively used for the initial elbow flexion and is much stronger than the brachioradialis. How much stronger? And how would you measure that? A couple pounds stronger? Yeah, it's going to make a big difference, eh? A kinetic chain is only as strong as its weakest muscle. It isn't rocket science, dude. You know it's not rocket science? That if you want to understand the why here, you look at the biggest, strongest muscle involved. If all things are equal there, then you look downstream. But all things are not equal there. When you change the grip, you change the effect that the biggest, strongest muscle has on the movement. You know what amazes me? That somebody wrote such a stupid fucking comment. You either didn't watch the video or didn't understand. So let this be a lesson to all you Athlean X Dick Riders. You want to come at me with this weak-ass fucking garbage? I'm going to take you to the cleaners every single time. I'm going to leave you Dick Riders with a quote. Drake said it best when he said this: last name ever, first name greatest. Like a sprained ankle, boy, I ain't nothing to play with.